Hey, Mike Barbanica with Blue Line Property Management. I wanted to get a video out to you on something that we just had occurred that we really haven't seen before. We actually had to prosecute a tenant. So here's basically what happens. More than a year ago, we got a call from an owner who had a tenant who was a problem tenant in a property. And we get these calls quite a bit where people have an issue with their tenant. They're not sure what to do. Should they evict them? Should they not evict them? What's the law say? And so these are very, very common that we get these calls. We ended up taking the property over with a tenant in place already. Now, the owner was in possession of the security deposit on the property, and he retained that security deposit. By the way, we don't recommend doing that. And quite often what we see is the owner will spend that security deposit and then tenant goes to move out of the property and the owner's like, oof, don't have the security deposit. So we don't recommend doing that. When we take it, we actually just put it in a trust account. It sits there. You see it on your statement every month. So this owner had us take the property over. We do. The tenant was not a bad tenant. Really wasn't a bad tenant. A little bit high maintenance as far as what she would request, but nothing really out of the ordinary. It's just the way it goes. So she buys a house and is set to move out of the property. So we show up to do our move out inspection for the owner. We show up. Well, first off, she has the inspection set for a certain time. She calls that day, changes it. We accommodate her and we change it, move the inspection to the new time. We show up to do the inspection. She's not there and we're locked out of the house because she had changed the locks. And so we're locked out of the property. Not a big deal. She never shows up. So we call a locksmith because we can see the property is vacant. The windows are open and the shades are open and it's vacant. Call locksmith and get him in there. Well, the tenant gets irritated because we didn't call her to remind her that she was supposed to be there at the appointment that she set. And so she got irritated over the phone, calls us up, starts yelling, etc. This is on the 31st of the month. The next day, she starts trying to manipulate the rent system where she knows if she pays rent and she's not living there, the money has to be refunded to her. So what she ended up doing was trying to pay rent through the system and then requested money coming back. And it just kind of went back and forth where she was manipulating and canceling payments through her bank. And ultimately, it happened very quickly because the way our system is designed, it's all electronic. We saw it very, very quickly and reached out to her and said, you paid this amount of money, you got a refund, and now you're canceling payments. And it was pretty convoluted. She knew what she was doing. And so we reach out to her almost immediately, literally within 10, 15 minutes and said, we just saw this. You had gone in on this date. Here's what you did. You paid your rent. Here's what you did with that. You received a reimbursement. Here's what you did with that. We tracked that she had cashed her reimbursement. Long story short, we were able to show on paper that she was attempting to manipulate the system and had actually got her bank to pull $2,600, reverse a $2,600 payment, which they shouldn't have done. So because we were able to show this on paper, we contacted the Antioch Police Department and we filed a grand theft report. She would not respond back to us at all. We file a grand theft report and I'm literally standing there while the officer reaches out to her and she doesn't take the officer's phone call. So he leaves a message. She calls him back, I guess, about 2 hours later. And I am not exaggerating when I say 2 hours and 1 minute later, we had the next phone call from her saying, big misunderstanding. I'm really sorry. This will never happen again. I am on my way to your office to reimburse that $2,600. Don't know what I was thinking. I sincerely apologize. Please don't prosecute me. So here's my recommendation. We take these on a case-by-case basis. When the officer came in, those of you that know me know I'm a retired police officer. I did 21 years, retired. So I had already written the entire investigation before they even showed up here. So when they walked into our office, I said, here is a chronological events that occurred. Here is the canceled check. Here is her logging into our system. Here is an email from her, a text message. Here is everything that you're going to need to prosecute this case. Literally handed it right to him and said, here you go. He said, awesome, this is perfect. Let's move forward with prosecution. The second the tenant found out that we actually had a legitimate case, that it wasn't, we're keeping records on a journal, the officer told her, these folks have every text message you've ever sent in, every email, every phone call is logged. There are photographs of everything. There's a chronological order of the way you went into the system and attempted to manipulate and requested refunds, and how you actually got your bank to reverse the funds immediately. Let me come down to the office. Let me pay this money back right now. So just want to say we use that very, very sparingly. Out of all the tenants we've ever dealt with, this is the first one we've actually had to prosecute. We were looking at initially, let's go the small claims action and sue her for the money. But we went the prosecution route, and within, like I said, 2 hours, she called the officer. 2 hours and 1 minute, she was on the phone with us, apologizing, saying she doesn't know what she was thinking. She will have the money back to our office ASAP in the form of a cashier's check. And so, again, it is a tool for you, but the key to it is having all your ducks in a row, where you can, when an officer walks in, you can hand him everything, or her everything, and say, here is a full package for you. This is what we want to do. This is what the tenant did. This is why there is a loss that we experienced, and here's how we want our money back. Worked out very well. Got the money back, and we're good to go. Thank you very much. I wanted to get this out to all of you, and basically just to talk about the extreme importance of record keeping and monitoring when money comes in, when money goes out. If you don't have those records to back it up, you're going to suffer in court. You're going to suffer if you ever try to file a police report. It's going to be very difficult in an uphill battle. In this case, it was a package with a bow on it, where we handed it to the officer and said, here you go. And they said, holy smokes. There was 2 officers here, and one of them said, I wish everybody would do this. So that's just part of what we do, and hopefully you're doing the same as an owner. Keep a record of everything. Thanks so much, and have a great day.